Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today I'm going to do my what sold for last week, Monday through Thursday, which will be the 7th through the 10th of November. Lots of sales to share. Lots to share. No big dollar items, but a lot of littles and a lot of goods. Good. I love the littles, so I'm okay with that. But let me tell you, this morning I woke up and my international shipping has been changed to the new eBay international shipping. The global shipping 2.0 is what I've heard some people refer to it. So I had to spend the morning editing my listings to remove any other international shipping that I had, because I was doing global shipping and then certain countries I would also direct ship. So I had to remove all of that in order for this to go. And I got a little bit of a concern because I can't quite figure out how to remove items that I know shouldn't be shipped international. So if anybody else is in this new program and you have figured that out, I think I'm going to call eBay and see if I can get some guidance, because I know we're not supposed to ship Levi's to the European Union, and I know Italy, as far as toys, you're not supposed to ship non-wood toys to Italy. So I'm not sure if they'll be catching that kind of stuff. But, you know, I've just got concerns. I've always removed Levi's and possibly even Nike from being shipped internationally, because I just know that you can get a Vero, especially for the Levi's, because some of them can't be shipped there. I don't know. But if you've figured that out yet, there's not a like on global shipping where there's a little toggle and you can just turn it off. But again, this just all started this morning. But I'm excited. I'm excited because it seems like it's going to be a really good program, and the prices are more reasonable, and they do cover the new Lucid packaging requirements for Germany. So now I don't have to worry about that. So yay, yay. All right, let's go ahead and get to this other screen. Gonna start with the non-eBay. If you're new to my channel, everything gets listed on eBay, and then I use a cross-listing tool called List Perfectly to transfer them over to Etsy, Mercari, and Poshmark. And I don't do all of them over. I pick and choose, because this year I decided I wasn't successful. I was trying to get at least one other platform on all of my listings, but I have 10,000 listings. That's a major endeavor, but hopefully I'll get more done and do better for next year, because yeah, I don't sell as much on these other platforms, but you know, anytime you can get a different set of eyes on your items, you know, the potential for a sale does increase. So there's that. And also, again, if you're new, I don't do free shipping. So anytime I say something sold for this amount, it did not include the shipping that the buyer did pay also. All right, let's start with Etsy. I just had one single sale there, but I've sold several things since then. So Etsy, you know, for vintage toys is a really good place to start with cross-listing. This is a Nabisco Butterfinger Bear plush from 1987. I'm pretty sure I purchased this in the bulk high bid auction that I won last year. Bought way over 1,000 items, probably way more than 1,000. And I've sold quite a bit of it. I ain't finished listing all of it though either. I've got a lot of littles now. But this Butterfinger Bear sold for $26.05. This is a two sales for Mercari. Mercari is the platform that I put a lot of my low dollar stuff on. Smalls and plush and stuff. This is a Bandai Finding Dory Hank the Octopus figure. It was called a Swigglefish. It has like a little roller ball on the bottom of it. It sold for $8 on Mercari. And this is a Little People Sesame Street Mr. Hooper. the number 2 means I had several of these in different conditions, and that's just how I show eBay that they're not the exact same listing. It sold for $6. This was from the Highway 127 lot that I picked up this summer when we went out there. Some Poshmark sales. These were some Nike women's sandals. I think we picked them up for $1 or $2 at an estate seller yard sale. They sold for $12 on Poshmark. This was a puzzle that I picked up at the Highway 127 sale also. I had paid $3 for it. It sold for $14 on Poshmark. Madewell women's jeans. These sold for $24 on Poshmark. And this was a winter jacket, a youth size, Walls, blizzard proof coat. It sold for $16 on Posh. All right, now to the eBay listings. Somebody sent me a message saying I could do Control Tab. I just don't know if I'm coordinated enough to do that to get through my listings. Let's see. This is a Luby's brand, brown monkey, just a round plush. I'd never found that brand before. And it sold almost immediately for $14.95. This is Fisher-Price Little People Sesame Street. Again, this was from the Highway 127 lot. This was the last one. I had found 2 of them in that lot. This one sold for $11.66. This is a Dakin Bunny Rabbit hand puppet from 1975. I took a best offer of $16.50 for it. QT Toes. I think a lot of these are like in blind bags. I'm not quite sure. I don't have little kids anymore. But they do have a very strong scent to them. So when I do find them, I try to store them separate from all my other plush. I don't really like scented stuff near all of my other stuff. And even if I'm storing them in clear bags, it still is very potent. This one sold for $12 best offer. Fisher-Price tape recorder player. I think I picked this up for $2 or $3. It had corroded batteries in there, so again, it kind of gets set off when I tend to do that when I have to do extra work, because I can get so much more listed without having to stop. But I ended up cleaning it up, and I do have a video in here showing that it did work. It kind of seemed slow, but as long as you make comments about all of that, then you should be covered. I didn't have any issues with it. It did sell for $24. This is Velvets by Greek. It sold for $8.96. It's just another one of those brands that I don't find very often, so I did want to share that I did sell something from that. They're a very nice quality plush to me. So if you see anything by that, Velvets by Greek, and you can get it relatively cheap. It does sell. I just don't find a whole lot of it. Christmas is selling. Definitely right now. I am the type of seller that I do list Christmas and any seasonal stuff all year. And then, of course, a lot of it sells during that season. This is a Christmas beaver bean plush ornament. It's 5 inches tall. It did not have a manufacturer on it. So when I don't know a manufacturer, I try to use as many keywords as I can to try to let somebody who's looking for it find it. It sold for $8 best offer. This box. I picked this up at my little favorite estate sale we like to go to. It was full of like Christmas type accessories, hair things, earrings. I paid, I want to say, $1 for all of it. I really bought it for the box, but I ended up listing all of the stuff that was in it also. But this one was in terrible condition. Just, you see right here in my thing, very poor condition. Those were my first description. It had tears on it. It had stains. The entire inside had been written on. but I knew somebody's still going to want it. Got a best offer almost immediately for $12, so it's out the door, right? Ralph Lauren Polo Kelly jeans, $15.91. On average, we estimate we pay about $1.50 for all the jeans that we pick up. So if you can find stuff for really cheap, some of these brands that don't normally do very well do okay for us. I think I have another example of another brand that most people just pass on by, but we sell them consistently. Kelly toy. This is just a cute bear that had the little basketball heart. I sell these quite consistently. There's bears, and I think there's like dogs and stuff. This one sold for $11.66. This is from a Darling U was the manufacturer. Brown koala bear, 9-inch, sold for $21.55. This is one of those examples. I had the two cats on the right listed for a while, hadn't sold them. I think I had them listed for like $9.95. These are Kitty Surprise. These are the more contemporary ones, not the vintage. I recently picked up the cat that was on the left, ended my listing, added this to it. It sold the same day. I relisted it for a best offer of $12. That's why I always say I might list stuff for relatively cheap, but the thought is always that I'm going to find something to go with it and I can up the price. Sometimes it sells before that happens, but it's easier for me to find stuff that's been put into my inventory than to find in this room. And I tend to set stuff here, there, and everywhere, and sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. Mattel Masters of the Universe. I just picked this up recently at our little favorite estate sale we go to on Wednesdays. This was Man-at-Arms from 1981. He had some of his armor, but he didn't have his weapons. He sold immediately, probably within an hour of listing for full asking price, $19.95. I think in the bottom of my IKEA bag was a whole bunch of just littles, and I think she charged me $2 for all of it. So I have hardly anything in him. Kohl's Cares. I pick all of them up. I tend to sell them bread and butter for the most part, but very quickly. And this time of year, last year I sold out almost all of my Kohl's Cares. It's just something that parents like to buy. Favorite characters from books. This is the Dr. Seuss Hands, Finger, Thumb. I used to know that book from when my kids were little. The entire book, because we read it so often. Nostalgia sells. Nostalgia. See? You know, maybe when one of my younger boys end up having kids of their own, you know, I might go looking for this and that book because it was such a fond memory for me with them. $11.66. I picked this up at a Habitat Restore. I want to say I probably paid $3 for it. Maybe my mistake was putting the two. They are the same Premier Durastone manufacturer, but I think then your weight goes up. I probably should have listed it separately. They've been listed for probably over a year. I got a best offer of $15, so it's gone. This was a viewer sale, so thank you very, very much, Judy. I picked up a bunch of stencils at the Goodwill bins once upon a time. Believe me, it's been years. These have been listed. A lot of times it is just listed and forget it, but I do the end and sell similar each month. But Judy did purchase this from me for $5.36, so thank you. Another bad buy, but they're sold. The issue was, I think I paid $5 for them at a yard sale, but I wasn't quite sure if it was complete. So I didn't want to put, it looked like it was based on the instructions, but I just didn't know for sure. So I listed them a little bit cheap than if it had been complete. and sold for best offer of $15. So I still made a profit. Christmas ornaments. I pick up lots of these. I probably paid $1 at an estate sale on half price just because, you know, a lot of times this would have been considered multiple ornaments, even though it was one box. It was Kmart from 2008. Took a best offer of $25 for them. Dandy Imports. I love selling plush for $10. In my brain, I always think, you know, I have probably 6,000 plush listed. Some bread and butter, some for a lot more. But if I could just get $10 for each, dang. But this is a panda bear, sold for $10. Now, I picked this up when we went out to the Prison to Profit conference that we went to. We stopped at a Goodwill bins, and I bought a bunch of littles. This is from VTech. It is the replacement purple scarecrow phone. I pick it up every single time I find it. Very quick. This sold probably within a week for best offer of $13. I think Robert picked this up at an estate sale for $1. It was the Rubik's Cube and the book on how to solve it. I think he had grand intentions of learning how to do a Rubik's Cube. I just ended up picking it up and bringing it down here and listing it and sold for $18. Disney Baloo Jungle Book plush 14-inch. Love that cartoon. Just absolutely love it. It sold for $17.95. This is an Aurora plush, just another example. I sell tons of these. They're small, usually 6 to 8 inches, and kids just love them. They become just little toys that they can hold in their hand. They become favorites, and parents have to scramble when they get lost. This one sold for $8.96. Stuffins. This is was a CVS released plush back in the 90s. There were several because I've had Rocky and Bullwinkle. There's the Rudolph and the Island of Misfit Toys. There's Frosty the Snowman. There's Popeye. There's several series that were released. I really think the entire collection at the Nashville bins when we were traveling or sourcing earlier this year. I've been listing them individually. That way people can buy the ones that they need to complete their own sets. I think just recently I showed you guys the, oh yeah, in my September sales I sold the polka dot elephant. That's one of the harder ones and the one that sells for the most. But this is Comet the Coach, and he sold for $9.86. I have several more of these to share. This Lovabella. This came all from the Prison to Profit Goodwill bins. Anytime you see replacement items for the Lovabella dolls, definitely pick them up. I don't think I actually knew that this was Lovabella, but I did just recently sell a pacifier that said Lovabella on it. But this bottle sold for $21. Storybook Knits. This was just a cute top. I'm pretty sure I remember it. This was a fill-a-bag for like $2. Just had a lot of embellishments here. So I did not intend to ship this in a padded flat rate mailer. So they did have to pay for regular priority shipping because I just did not want to run the risk of any of the sequins and the little embellishments being damaged. It did sell for $22. Starbucks. I ain't even gonna try. Sao Paulo. I tried. Coffee cup. I tend to pick up most Starbucks that I find, especially the ones that are international or the I've been here type series. Most of them don't sell for a whole lot, but there are some that sell for a lot. I want to say I paid $2 on a half price estate sale. It sold for $18. And you know, some people get frustrated when sellers send you or buyers send you shipping instructions. I got one of those, you know, please package this. But you got to look at it from the buyer's perspective. I bet you they've ordered stuff that wasn't packaged properly. Because, I mean, there's some people who just wrap these up in bubble mailers. In bubble wrap, and then put them in bubble mailers and ship them thinking they're going to actually make it safely. So it doesn't bother me when they do that. I ship all of mine so that they're going to get there undamaged. Or actually, Robert's going to pack them that way. Earth Spirit, just one of the brands I talk about that we find regularly at yard sales. They sell consistently for us from like $15 to $20. We can usually get them for $1 or $2. This Bass, and I find a lot of Danskos they do sell for more. But yeah, just bread and butter. These sold for $18. Play School Baby Receiving Blankets. I picked up a couple of these at, I think it was a church sale. I was hoping they were going to be like big time bolos like the Morgan baby blankets, but it wasn't. This one sold for best offer of $12. This was a multi-order from the same buyer. She bought this Happy Feet plush and a Best Made Toys. Paid $20.62 for the two of them. Didn't wait. I always refund part of their shipping, even if they don't wait for me to send an invoice. I just think it is a better experience for the buyer, and hopefully they'll come back and be a repeat customer. Some more from the Stuffins Rudolph plush lot. This is the cowboy on the red ostrich. It sold for $17.95, and the same buyer bought this one, which is, I hadn't seen this one before, but it's just a red and green train, and it sold for $13.45. And this is what their tags look like. Stuffins, and it usually has the date on there. And Google Lens will definitely tell you who they are. Jimmy Neutron. This was a Wendy's meal. Pretty sure I picked these up just at a yard sale or a Goodwill bins. Not quite sure. I did have two of them, and this buyer bought both of them for $16, $8 each. Route 66. We find lots of them. This pair sold for $13. I'm sure we probably paid $1 for them. Jasco Mermaid Porcelain Bell. I'm sure this was a Robert purchase. He buys these things like this. But it sold for $11.66. So I don't normally pick up porcelain stuff. He does. And, it sells. Just like these, except those right there are still sitting on the table because I'm waiting for him to pack it. If he's going to buy it, he's going to pack it, right? Build-A-Bear. Now, usually when it's these larger plush, I tend to just put them priority shipping. I'm going to put them in a shoebox and send them on their way. I probably need to rethink that because that is expensive for the buyer. But this buyer sent me a message asking, was there any way I could ship it in a poly bag? I went and weighed it. I was worried because it did have clothes on that it might be over, but it wasn't. So I did, she purchased it, and I changed the shipping to first class shipping, and it all ended well. But I probably need to go back and pull some of my Build-A-Bears, and if I can, ship them in a poly bag. I do. It's just one of those, I worry that, they might get twisted or turned and get misshaped, and you'll just have an unhappy buyer. Brats. I picked this up at the Highway 127 sale. They were $5 a bag. This was, I think, one of the few bags that was just clothes and shoes. I had grand ideas that I was going to, do the research and, part it out, kind of, sort of. But I just decided to put it on my little mat there and sell it as a lot. It sold for very quickly. Actually, somebody bought it, got held up for the 4 days, relisted it, and it sold almost immediately again for $24. Mini Behringer dolls. These are really little, 5.5 inches. Pretty sure I picked these up at one of the Goodwill bins. Ended up taking a best offer of $10, but 2 little dolls, very simple, 5 pictures, show it on a tape measure, and sells just like that. I probably have maybe 25 to 50 cents in them. Another multi-quantity order. This was Fisher Price Little People. There was some vintage that I picked up at a yard sale recently, or this summer. And then there was actually some of the newer ones, just kind of a mixed lot. This one sold, the 3 lots sold for $24. This was in one of the dollhouse lots that I picked up. I think it was the consignment sale. And this is just the hammock stand. It was, I was hoping I could find the hammock, but I just listed it and it sold for $8, best offer. E&J Classics, that's a very good brand. There's some of them that sell for big dollars. This, I kind of had it listed high. I think there weren't any black horses listed when I initially got it and processed it, but I ended up getting quite a few offers for about $20, and I thought, it's probably one of those instances where that's probably was the correct price, so I did end up taking one of the offers for $20. Black poodle dog plush, didn't have a tag on it, so I wasn't quite sure of who the manufacturer was. Still sold for $16.84. This, look how I spelt bunny. Sometimes, we just don't catch them all. This is from Walmart, very cute, had a little carrot embroidered thing in the ear. It's been listed a while, but I ended up in the offer that she sent me. She said that she had been searching for this rabbit forever and was so thankful that she had found it. It sold for $16.16. I think we just showed this recently in one of our hauls, the parting it out of small appliances. This was for a Regal La Machine food processor. This was just the little disc adapter stem. That seems to be like the highest dollar part in any of them. It's small. I'm sure it gets lost. It gets down into a garbage disposal and gets destroyed. So it's sold immediately at full asking price of $14.95. Little Tykes Holler. This I've had listed a while. It was missing one of the cars. Had scuffs and abrasions from being outside. I think it might have even been missing the ramp in the back of it, and it was oversized. So it had a lot going against it, but it still eventually sold for $26.95. Play School Tyco Muppet vehicles. These are the little die-cast vehicles. I want to say they were from like 80s and 90s maybe. I tend to pick up anytime I see these at the Goodwill bins. I pick up a lot of littles. I should show you guys the bag of stuff I brought back from Nashville. I have an IKEA bag that's all the way to the top with just smalls. I just love picking that kind of stuff up and making lots out of them. This sold for $11.66. Monkey Pod wood plates, trays. I want to say I picked these up at our little favorite estate sale, probably about $3. There were 6-inch plates, 8-inch plates, and then the 12-inch tray. It did have like made in the Philippines on the back. They sold for best offer of $30. These candy cane Christmas lights, it was a set of 2. I picked up at a yard sale, probably $1 each maybe. Sold them for $30 also. I talked about this recently. I have passed on a lot of the baby plush for a very long time and just started making small lots like this one. This is Eric Carl. It's the Hungry Caterpillar series. Just put a bunch of them together and they sold for $35.95. this is Superior Toy and Novelty. He is a monkey plush. I paid $10 for him at a yard sale. He sold relatively quickly, probably within a month, for $40 best offer. So very nice turnaround. And then this, I told you, a whole lot of littles and not anything grand, but just quantity, right? Quantity. This is a vintage Telco Christmas motionette elf. It was supposed to have a marionette that his hands would move. It was missing, and then I think somebody had put like pom-poms in there to, I guess maybe to look like he was juggling. I just put everything that in the listing. I'm pretty sure I did have a video showing that it did work. I had it listed high. Made it all the way through last season, Christmas season, so I thought I was going to take the next reasonable best offer, and it sold for $42.50. It was one of those items I did pre-pack, so I knew exact dimensions, because you don't want to be surprised when you sell something like this and the shipping could be quite expensive because it's going to be oversized. All right, I hope you guys' sales have been doing as great as mine. I'm thrilled. You know, fourth quarter has not been disappointing this year. Last year was a little rough, but this year has been good. I've been listing Lego minifigures for 2 days now, and I'm still not done. So, I mean, processing them. I just started listing them this morning, but man, the money in minifigures. I have 130. I tried listing them all as one big lot for a whole lot of money, and then I just decided, take the time, don't be lazy, get in there, Google Lens, figure out who they are, and I've been surprised. I think I've processed maybe 20 of them, 20 minifigures, and I'm up to about $400 in listed price. You know how that goes. I'll have offers and sales and all of that stuff, but yeah. All right, let's all get to work. Bye.